Hi guys, it's Hani here. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we are decorating carrot cookies. To decorate, I am using my royal icing recipe that I have posted on my blog. Link is in the description box. And instead of my classic sugar cookie recipe that I normally use, I used my soft sugar cookie recipe to make the cookies, and this recipe has baking powder and baking soda. And cookies, they bake with slightly rounded edges, and so I find that it's easier to decorate the underside, especially when using flat consistency royal icing. There's a lesser chance of icing overflowing. And today I'm using 15-second consistency to decorate, and I will be using 3 fun wet on wet decorating techniques. Basically what wet on wet means is that we're going to pipe icing onto the wet base. So I decorated my carrot with this lovely orange color. Now with darker, deeper orange, we're going to make polka dots. I start in the middle to give myself a guide, and then I'm staggering the polka dots using that first line, and then I'm going to repeat that on the bottom. There. And today I'm using tipless piping bags. When doing wet on wet, I find it's better to have a smaller opening, especially when you're doing lines like this, smaller opening on your piping bag, because remember, when you pipe the icing onto the wet base, it's going to sink in and spread. So larger the opening, larger the line. And this template that I'm using today, it's a plaid template that is available in my template shop. Link is in the description box under this video. Alright, so now we have to just change the direction and pipe more lines that are perpendicular to the lines we made before. I am merely using the template as a guide where to start piping, and then once you do the first line, you just have to remember to make them parallel. And there. So that's the second design. I'm just gonna add my yellow lines here. And the third design, I think it's probably the most recognized as wet on wet. It's the feathering. It's such a fun technique, and it gives instant results. It's very popular, and I have done it also many times during the Christmas time when you're doing Christmas ornaments. So I'm just gonna pipe straight lines across, and then with a scribe tool, with the tip of a scribe tool, we're going to run it through the icing. It's very important that the icing is fluid. You don't want the icing to be crusted. Once it starts crusting, it's not going to be as seamless. And now I'm gonna go in opposite direction, and this is basically like a zigzag pattern, chevron pattern if you look at it. Now to decorate the leaves, I am using a piping tip. This is a small petal tip, 101S, and you can see it has a wide part and narrow. This is a larger petal tip, 103. You can see it has a narrow end and wide end, and this small tip also has a narrow end and wide end, although it's not as visible as on the larger piping tip. Now with a stiff royal icing here, I'm going back and forth. I'm gonna do a left and right leaf first. If you need to stop, just stop and then connect the line and continue piping. Sometimes it's very difficult when piping these leaves to turn your wrist, and you don't want to hurt your wrist. If you have pain in your wrist, please stop and just, continue where the line breaks off. Now I'm gonna do the right leaf here, and here actually I forgot to tell you, the narrow part of the piping tip is facing out and wide part is facing in. And then if there is any point, you can use dry paintbrush and clean that up. Now the middle leaf is lightly overlapping left and right leaf here. What is important when you're doing these leaves is that the bottom of the carrot, the orange, the wet on wet technique that we did, it's at least crusted. And crusting will take maybe 30 to 40 minutes. I like to lay my cookies on a flat tray and have them close by, have the running fan close by. It promotes air circulation and it just speeds up the drying and crusting process. Ceiling fan also works. Just make sure that the fan is clean. There shouldn't be any dust on it because you don't want the dust to be falling on your icing. And there. So I'm just gonna do one last leaf in the middle. And this icing has to be on a thicker side because if it's too runny, it won't be able to hold the shape. So you will lose the shape. So try to use icing that is thicker. And I used leaf green food coloring to make this lovely green. And there. That's how you guys can make these. I think these are fairly easy. Carrot cookies. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and again, for all the recipes that I used today, visit my blog. I'm including all the links in the description box under the video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Happy Easter, and I will see you next time.